but a dime to call the devil's lawyer to take my case on time. Well, now she's sitting pretty, and I'm here in the gutter. I swear I'll get back someday, one way or another. I said, my mama told me the day of my birth, forget about looks, find a girl who's got some worth. Not me, I wouldn't listen. Now I rue the day I said, you got my money, honey, but I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to marry my money again. I'll marry my money again. I'm going to marry my money again. I'll marry my money again. I'm going to get you back, honey. I'll marry my money again, 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 again. I said I'll marry my money again. I'll marry my money again. I'm going to marry my money again. I'll marry my money again. I'm going to get you back, honey. I'll marry my money again, 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 again. I'm going to marry my money again. I'll marry my money again. I'm going to marry my money again. I'll marry my money again. I'm going to get you back, honey. I'll marry my money again. Oh, yes, indeed.
Marry My Money. They call themselves the Blind Lemon Peel Band, and we have a quick substitution here. If you don't think music is a rough business, understand that Dave from the band, who was going to speak with us today, has hurt himself and is off getting medical treatment. And in his place, band manager Rick Snyder will be talking with us. Hello, Rick.
Hey, what's going on? Is this Dave?
Hey, you are, man. First off, our sympathies for Dave. Hope everything turns out all right with him.
Well, you know what they say, man. Getting old is not for wussies.
Oh, you got that right. Trust me. John and I have read the book, and I think we're working on the sequel. But tell us a little bit about the Blind Lemon Peel Band. Where did they come from?
Well, interestingly, David started the band about 25 years ago in its first configuration. And in the band, he had this great piano player by the name of Joel Diamond. If you look him up online, this guy has written scores for operas, for plays. He's written music with a dozen other people and is just an incredible musician in his own right. But he's remained in New York because he's a New York kind of a guy. David, on the other hand, after a period of time in a rather unsuccessful marriage, decided that he could no longer stay in New York, and he had to come out here to California, where the scene for music was a lot more vibrant at the time. So he moved out here, I don't know, about 8-10 years ago, and moved into the beach area near Hermosa and Playa del Rey and Redondo.
Okay.
And got these great musicians to be in his band. Ray Brundage was the bass player who played with James Brown for about 8 years, and the guy kills. David Odom, who is a southpaw drummer, and I just love left-handed drummers, but this guy has got an amazing amount of talent and charisma and just can't keep the ladies off him. And then Lucky Lloyd, who came from Louisiana out here and is steeped in the B.B. King School of Blues. He was the guitar player and the music director for the band, and then Tad Gallerin was the keyboard player. His first blues gig was with Albert Collins, but he also, weirdly enough, was in the Los Angeles and Broadway Company of Hair. So,
wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see him naked today, but maybe somebody did back then. I'm not sure.
I don't think I wanted to see him naked back then either.
I don't even want to see me naked.
Nor do I.
So those guys made up the band in Southern California, and then about 6 months ago, David decided he was going to relocate up to Northern California and is up here in Sacramento. And the band now consists of a bass player by the name of AJ, who is just an amazing bass player and a local celebrity. Eric E. Alston is on the drums and just kills it. Marty Diodorian, who is also another local phenom, is the sax player, and Andy Keene is the guitar player. So those guys are moving north, although David brought the band down south but didn't bring these guys. He just hooked up with the same folks and just did a gig at the PCH Blues Club in Long Beach down there that was a raving success. And shortly before that, the band played at the North Sacramento Blues Festival here in Sacramento to a sold-out crowd. So incredible stuff. And David writes the, the only way I can describe his music would be Frank Zappa meets Captain Beefheart, and they talk about Jay Giles.
That's a pretty good description there. And what strikes me is not only is Dave very creative in his own right, but he is either incredibly lucky or incredibly good at finding some amazing talent to keep the band stocked with such tremendous talent.
I can't believe it. It's remarkable, his ability to do that. And he just has a way with words and the ability to engage people and bring them in like that. And, the same thing happens when he's on stage. He's just an incredible presence. And I know if you've taken a look at the website, you've probably looked at one or two of his videos. So he does some incredible stuff and has a stage presence like no other.
He definitely does indeed. And John Bon Jovial, you're sitting there. I know you just want to jump into this conversation.
Yes, pacing back and forth with nervous energy. Rick, first of all, welcome to the show. We're glad you're with us.
Thank you, John.
And hope that Dave's trials and tribulations will be on the mend sooner than later. And please pass along to him our, concerns. But anyway, be that as it may. I will
definitely do that.
Hell of a blues guy. I love listening to this song, Marry My Money. And can't help but, just be intrigued by the bluesy aspect of it and also, kind of get a chuckle out of the subject matter. And so my question, I guess, is how did they come up with this song?
I'm thinking that song is directly related to his ex-wife who hated his musician friend.
You think?
Who came from a very wealthy family back east and had totally the diametrically opposed attitude towards life that David has. He is a man who loves to jump in with both feet and enjoy life to its fullest. And she seemed to be, from his description, a woman who was, how shall I say this in the most diplomatic way, bitter.
Yeah, remember, we're on the radio.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
They say that opposites attract, but I guess this is probably one of those times when maybe it shouldn't have.
I'm thinking some good music came out of it, and most of the musicians that I've worked with over the years seem to, for some reason or another, be inspired by the terrible relationships that they find themselves in and produce some of their best work.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's just a nice, gritty, dirty feel to the song, which, as far as I'm concerned, makes up some of the, the best kind of, rock and blues that you can get. And when you can combine the two, as he has done, and I'm sure that a lot of this has been, with your guidance and input, you've got a great combinations. And speaking of which, as the manager, what kind of guidance and input do you have with the guys?
Well, what I like to try and do is sort of oversee the whole thing. Of course, in the managerial role, number one, I'm the, I take care of all the business and put together the team that makes the that rows the boat and keeps everything moving forward, so that the musicians don't have to focus on the minutia of the music business. But aside from that, I'm constantly being consulted about the set, about the content of the lyrics, about the direction of the music, and about where we should take this thing next. So, for better or for worse, they get my 2 cents worth on everything that they do, as well as being the mean Uncle Ernie. Well, maybe not Uncle Ernie, but the mean uncle who the mean uncle who is constantly on them to be where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there and take care of the things that they're supposed to take care of.
Yeah, I was going to say, careful there. If you're talking about Peter Townsend's Uncle Ernie, then he was a little weird.
Yeah, that was just a slip of the tongue.
Well, when you were talking about where they're going to take it from here and moving on from this point, made me think. I am surprised that we haven't heard more about this band in the past. And obviously you're playing mostly California. Have you, or do you plan to move on out and maybe spread the sound around the country?
Absolutely. And last year, David did a couple gigs with some friends of his in New Orleans. And this coming year, we're planning on doing a couple gigs in New York City. We've also got an engagement at, of all things, the Monterey Blues Festival in Monterey.
Right.
Outstanding.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, that sounds like an appropriate stop for you guys, almost to the point of wondering why you hadn't already done that. But if you got your managerial pen handy, I just want to plant a seed with you, and that being that I'm in the Phoenix area, as a matter of fact, right close to ASU, Tempe, Arizona, and John is down in the Naples-Fort Myers area. So if you ever get into those areas, by all means, give us a yell. We'd sure like to see you in person.
I think my wife is visiting her sister near Phoenix right now.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I told her to stop by, but she said she wasn't going to.
Well, hey, I'll forgive her. I mean, after all, she is here with her sister, so we'll let it slide this time, but don't let it happen again. John Bon Jovial, you're sitting there waving paper at me, so I know you've got something else you'd like to add to the conversation.
Well, not only that, but timing the conversation out as well. You pretty much took the next question away from me, and that's quite all right. And I was going to talk to you about tours and locale, and just to reiterate what David just said, if you ever do find yourself, or the band finds themselves in the Phoenix area or Southwest Florida, for that matter, we would definitely love to hook up with you guys and take you out to dinner, buy you a beer, and listen to some good music afterwards.
Absolutely. How far away is Fort Myers from Destin, Florida?
Oh, gosh, Destin is up in the Panhandle, so it's probably a good 400 miles from here. Florida's a huge state, and it's just way the hell up there.
Want to ask you, tell us a little bit about this next song we're going to play, a thing called My Dog. I'm almost afraid to ask, but tell us about it.
Well, My Dog is actually an Elvin Bishop tune that Blind Lemon Peel has kind of adjusted to meet their own sort of quirky perspective on things.
Kind of appropriated in a way.
You could say that, definitely. But, take it for what it is. There is a double entendre there, because David certainly loves to test the limits of decency and the boundaries of, language. But I think part of it is also he